tell you? V8, not V6.
Yeah, exactly. 8 is the
It is a good idea to be as agile as you can. Use your boosters to avoid opponents' attacks and get behind them. Once you're behind them, you cannot be hit.
From the pits. So it's a cluster of cars going around the track all at different times, which would be great if it was only a small handful, but with 20 plus players it's just too much. I'd much prefer to see a server with 10 people.
Hello and welcome to Worldwide Gaming. I'm your host Ryan, and today we're going to transport you to 3 very distinct worlds. I'm going to take you to the post-apocalyptic wasteland in my review of Mad Max. Daniel is telling you why you should spend some time with Armored Call for Answer. And Jarryd makes us rev heads in his review of Assetto Corsa. All that after the forecast.
The new IP from Killzone developers Guerrilla Games, Horizon Zero Dawn, looks like a refreshing take on the action-adventure genre. As Aloy, players are tasked with hunting down robot dinosaurs that now roam the Earth in search of what happened to the last civilization. The game is coming out in 2016 for the PS4.
This is going to be harder than I thought.
To Leave follows the story of Harm, who, with the help of his flying door, attempts to leave behind his life in the megapolis Candace. Not many details have been released about the game yet, but it looks to be a platformer akin to Super Meat Boy. It's releasing early next year for PC, PS4 and PS Vita. The next game in the Ghost Recon series is coming out next year for current-gen consoles and PC. Sporting a massive open world, 4-player co-op, and a more RPG-like focus, Wildlands is looking to be one of the best games of next year.
Going to the bullet. Whitehead is a dead man walking.
It is known that the world fell, and that most people in it died. The dead will not suffer the hardships of the terrible world which remains.
Believe it or not, Mad Max is not a tie-in game of the movie of the same name. Its too convenient timing is, in fact, a culmination of delays, production issues, and long development time in general. If the game were to come out earlier, before the likes of Shadow of Mordor or Far Cry 3, it would be more impressive, but Mad Max doesn't do enough to distinguish itself from other open-world action games, relying on the same gameplay tropes with only minor unique touches thrown in. It's not hard to tick every box when creating a Mad Max game. Does it star Max? Yes. Do you drive an Interceptor? Yes. Well, kind of. The game starts as Max is driving to the Plains of Silence, a mythical place that may be a real oasis or just a figment of Max's crazed imagination. A group of scavengers slash gang members slash psychotic bandits run you off the road, taking everything you have, but not before you lodge a chainsaw in the brain of their leader, Scabrous Scrotus. Left with nothing, you eventually meet a disfigured but brilliant mechanic, Chumbucket, and manage to convince him to build you a new car. The game leads you through the world, slowly upgrading your car to be faster, tougher, and more spikier than ever, as you deal with the fallout of killing the area's toughest leader. Although an interesting setup, the story takes a backseat almost immediately, and becomes a hunt to get the next car part you need to progress. Interesting new characters are introduced every now and then, but after the initial meeting are basically as significant as any other NPC in the cobbled together fortresses. With such an interesting world and a clear indication that they have the ability to create interesting characters, it feels like Avalanche Studios missed a golden opportunity to flesh some of them out more. The only character you'll spend a lot of time with is Chumbucket, who, to be fair, is a worthy companion, even if he doesn't pronounce Dinky Die right.
And Dinky D, too, is gonna need an overhaul.
Don't go straight.
No, I won't. I know you'll find me and dismantle me. I know. Chumbucket's not stupid.
The world is split up into multiple territories which all have the distinct flavour of post-apocalyptic dystopian wasteland. Although very impressive looking, you'll be doing more or less the same thing in each area, as there are only a few types of side activities to complete. There are camps strewn around which you can infiltrate and take over after completing a certain objective, scarecrows you can knock down, sniper towers you can pull over with your harpoon, which are just scarecrows with a sniper on top of it, and convoy routes to liberate. All of these and some smaller encounters can be marked on your map by finding hot air balloons, then floating into the sky to find activities with your binoculars. The fact that you have to mark these locations yourself gives the action more of a sense of interactivity than any other game that's tried it, but the act of climbing high structures to reveal the world around you is extremely stale at this point. Combat is heavily influenced by the Batman games. You'll be tapping the attack button over and over, or holding it for a strong attack, until you see the button for counter over an enemy's head, adding a little variety of the weapons you can wield in battle. Planks of wood wrapped in barbed wire and makeshift axes help you increase your survival chances, as they can deal massive damage to the foes around you. The AI acts very unintelligently when this happens though, as it seems that enemies are more likely to run into the blast radius when this happens. On top of that, like Batman, even though you're fighting killers and psychopaths, they'll only attack you one at a time, and will wait for you to beat up one of their gang members before attempting to fight you. There are 3 separate leveling systems in Mad Max, but they do correlate to 3 very different things. You can upgrade Max using scraps of metal you found to make things like leather jackets that decrease the amount of damage you take, or get new skills in combat. You can use Griffer tokens that are given to you for completing in-game challenges to help you survive longer. And last but not least, upgrade your vehicle's performance or weapons. Car combat is a necessity in Mad Max, as you'll frequently run into enemy vehicles in the desert who will try to destroy you. Thankfully, car combat is extremely satisfying, as it's such a big part of the game. Mad Max is technically competent, but ultimately lifeless. After Shadow of Mordor offered us a brilliant Nemesis system, it's hard to go back to the stock standard formula for open world games. Although the car combat is a step in the right direction, I was hoping for more in this game to make it truly stand out.